Welcome to Trigger Talk, your place for everything first-person shooters, Battlefield, Call of Duty, and so much more. I'm your host, Sage Goodwin, and as always, I'm joined by Sammy Boy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Doing fantastic, as you could probably tell from the audio, or maybe not, probably. I actually hate when people say that in podcasts. I don't know why I'm doing it. But I am on vacation right now, recording remote from Oregon, so that's the fun that we're entering this episode with today.
It's a much needed break, though. I think we both were saying last week.
Yeah, last week we were completely gassed.
Yeah. Please bring me the Christmas holidays already. Yeah. I'm done. Wrap this year up.
Yeah, I think both of us in this past week, we both went to beaches, so
yeah,
life is much better than when we recorded last week's episode.
Yeah. Crazy what the beach can do.
Oh yeah, revives you. It's like a chug jug for the brain, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But in this episode, we've got some follow-up for Call of Duty coming to Game Pass, and we're going to talk about Helldivers 2 and what it means for the game space, because we mentioned it, I think, last episode on how it's the first cross-platform title that PlayStation has done for one of its PlayStation Studio games, so we're going to talk about that. Let's jump right in. So first off, we got to go back to duty calls here. We got to talk about, because last week we were talking about a lot of our theories around Call of Duty on Game Pass. Like, I was on the fence that I would think they would probably wait to put it on Game Pass, and you were more on like, I think they're going to put it on immediately from what they've said. And now we have a little bit even more information around that, and it comes from a quote directly from Phil Spencer, so that's not like, oh, my uncle works at Nintendo whose uncle works at Xbox. We've got some legit stuff here.
It's interesting to see. I love the quote that we've obviously, for those listening, we've got some like notes that we have prepared for the episode, and the quote at the end there when he's sort of answering Bobby Kotick just cracks me up. Makes me so happy because I hate that dude so much.
Yeah, he's the worst. The quote specifically is former Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick had stated he didn't agree with the, quote, idea of a multi-game subscription service as a business proposition. And then last year, Phil Spencer responded directly to that and said, well, there's a different person making the decisions now.
Oh, such a cold sentence from Phil.
So good. Dude, Phil Spencer's like the best in the game space. Like, the dude pulls no punches. He's definitely like practicing what he preaches. The dude's like gamer score is insane.
Yeah, that's the part I love, is that he is actually just genuinely a gamer. And obviously he's still a CEO and he's still very much a businessman and all that, but he just seems a lot he seems a lot more down to earth, and I know a lot of what he says is still, PR talk and all that kind of stuff, but he does, just compared to most other people in that space, he does he just comes, it's just a nice breath of fresh air. Like, I just love the way that he approaches stuff where, I don't know, he's just a bit more like fun and friendly with it. He's not all just pure business. Like, he does just speak freely sometimes with stuff like that, where he's just like, well, he pretty much said, I don't care what Bobby Kotick says. Like,
yeah,
he's no longer at the company, so who really cares what he says?
Exactly. And speaking on that, more recently he says, quote, our intent is the full portfolio of games from ZeniMax, Activision Blizzard, and Xbox Game Studios will be on Game Pass day one. So I think that is pretty good clarification that we are going to get Call of Duty on Game Pass day one. Possibly even with the next one. Like, honestly, I think this is the year where they kick off a lot of Activision Blizzard games coming to Game Pass. We've got Diablo 4 coming as the first one, and we're definitely going to see some more as the year goes on. And I think it's a great thing, honestly.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're not like sticking around and sort of waiting to do it. That just seems like they're like, all right, the purchase has gone through, it's all official now, and let's just like start doing it. And I think that's the way to do it. I don't think there's I think a lot of companies kind of do wait around for like the right timing and all that kind of thing. And sometimes the right timing, I think, is just doing it straight away. Like, obviously within reason. You've got to get stuff like, got to make sure it's done well. But like, yeah, I don't think they would need to wait and, you know, let the next one come out as a regular Call of Duty, and then after that it's on Game Pass. I just think, yeah, I just think there's no point in waiting. So they're still gonna, you know, they'll still make however many millions of sales on PlayStation, and even still on Xbox and PC. They'll, when you look at like Starfield, that game actually sold really well, even though it was on Game Pass. So people still buy it. I think a lot of people are worried about, like, with Game Pass, you know, eventually they can remove it from Game Pass, so then they don't own it.
Yeah.
Which I always kind of find weird, because it's like, if I've played a game for like essentially free and then they remove it, I don't really care that much, because if I want to play it so desperately again, I can buy it after that. So, but anyway, I think a lot of people do still buy it, so they'll make their money on it 100%. And yeah, I'm very interested. Like I said on the last episode, I'm kind of done with COD, at least for now, until they can like genuinely innovate it. But I'm now like re-interested in just not playing it, but just the franchise, and just I really want to see how it goes. I want to see all the numbers that come out, and if it's a successful game. COD has been declining a little bit, and I wonder if Microsoft can sort of like change things, or if it goes the opposite way, in that we've seen that a lot of their exclusives just hasn't, like, they haven't done well. Not that this is exclusive, but the games that they like own, they haven't done that well over the last decade. So it could go the other way. I don't think it will, but it could. Like, Call of Duty could take a big hit from this and stuff. We don't know what's going to happen, so it's going to be very interesting to just sit back and watch and not have to play the game and still be able to pay somewhat attention to it.
Yeah. I think like you said, like, it's going to be interesting just to watch it no matter which way it goes. And like we were talking about last week, there are different options on, like, if they do it this way, it could be successful, but if they do it the other way, it could also be successful, or both ways could fail in different aspects. So I think it's going to be interesting. But in terms of, like, from a Microsoft Xbox position, I think it does make sense for them to be like, hey guys, when we said that Game Pass was a big focus for us, we meant it. Here's Call of Duty on Game Pass. And I think not skipping one, like I suggested last week, could just be the best way for them to say, hey, we're taking this seriously, and we're going to respect your subscription of Game Pass.
Yeah, I do agree with that, in that if they did skip this one, even if their plans were already that, like, all right, this one's going to be not on Game Pass straight away, and then Call of Duty 2025 will be on Game Pass day one, I think they would get a lot of criticism from not only fans, but also just, like, the media, in that, like, you know, why have you not put that on Game Pass day one when you said that they're all going to be on their day one? And so then it would come across, when they do next year put it on, it would come across like they're doing it because they don't want to get criticized and stuff. And I think doing it this year would just be like, no, we're not messing around, guys. Like, we said we're going to put them on there, and they're going on there. This is the biggest franchise in gaming at the moment in terms of the last decade. It's going on Game Pass. We don't care what you guys are expecting that's going to happen. So yeah, I think that is the way for them to do it, to just instill a bit of confidence in the people who are already subscribed to Game Pass. That's a big, to me, that's like even though I already love Game Pass, that's like a commitment from them. I feel it's like, no, we're taking this seriously. We're not, Game Pass isn't like going anywhere. We're just only going to make this better. And then for people who haven't got Game Pass yet, and they're kind of umming and ahhing, and they're like, oh, I don't really know if it's worth it. And they see Call of Duty going on there, they're like, oh, maybe this is worth it, because I buy that game every year and it costs, you know, $80, $70, whatever. Now I can get it for $15 a month with all these other games. So it's definitely the way to do it, I think. And it's a big, like, almost like an ego play from them, where they're like, nah, we're not messing around, guys. Like, it's the biggest bombshell they can kind of drop, of the biggest game coming essentially free. Like, that's just mental to even think about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's insane. And, like, I feel like so many people are going to go that direction with Game Pass. So I think there's a lot to be said there. But in terms of, like, what actually pretty similar to the discussions that we've been having around Microsoft, we can also bring that over to PlayStation. And I think it's going to be interesting when we see PlayStation's future Xbox has been very clear in its goal for, hey, we're going to have our games on platforms. It doesn't matter where you play, as long as you're playing our games and in our community, that's going to be great. PlayStation is slowly moving to that more and more, and with its biggest investment more recently, I think February 8th is when this launched. Helldivers 2 launched day and date with PlayStation, PS5, and PC. And that was something that we didn't think they would ever do until more recently, where they're having these deeper discussions now of, oh, hey, we're going to have some new games come to the platform that is PC. Obviously, this isn't going to be coming to Xbox quite yet, but I definitely think there could be a future where we go that direction. But in terms of like Helldivers 2, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I've been very interested, paying a lot of attention. I haven't actually played it yet, but in terms of just like, it's been all over the place. I've been seeing it all over Twitter. There's a lot of podcasts that I listen to that have like almost nonstop just been talking about it, and it's crazy to see, and it's almost like annoying in the fact that I've been saying this for years, man. Like, why are they not releasing games on multiple platforms?
It makes so much sense for
when it comes to like
too.
God of War and stuff like that. That's a bit different because I understand that's a big blockbuster. It's the equivalent of like a Star Wars movie or a Marvel movie coming out, and you want that to be exclusive to your platform only, and people aren't. It doesn't matter to me, for example, if the game sells one copy and it's me, because I'm not losing out in terms of this. I don't need other people to be playing it to have fun. When it comes to these like this is more of a co-op, but it's still an online multiplayer game. What does well for those games is more players.
Yeah,
that is the number one focus that all of them should be trying to achieve. Just the same as like if Call of Duty, then if Microsoft was like, nah, we're just making that exclusive now, that's bad. That's very bad for the game, because the player base is smaller. There's not as much hype around it. Because I genuinely think if they don't release Helldivers on PC, I don't think it would be doing that well.
Yeah,
I don't think it would have died or anything. But I think the PC player base has also almost like carried it to being as big as it is, because I just think that
it's so much of a harder core fan base. Like people on PC will play more time per investment typically.
And just all the stuff you see on like Twitter and stuff, I feel like a lot more of that, and obviously not everyone, but I feel like the PlayStation player base is definitely a bit more casual, and they're not all just recording all their gameplay and all that kind of thing. A lot of PC players are like clipping that stuff up and putting it on Twitter, and that's like generating hype. A lot of people I've seen, like even in my own Discord, people have been saying like, damn, I saw this awesome clip. Like that game looks so much fun. I'm going to buy it. So it's also to do with like, I don't know if you'd call that influencer marketing, because it's not even influencers. It's literally just the players.
Yeah, just making content.
So it's like you don't even need like your big YouTubers to do it. It's just literally people posting clips all over the place. And it's working so well for the game. So it's almost like word of mouth, really, that helps those type of games.
Yeah.
And I've been saying it for years, man. I don't know why I can understand a game like God of War and Spider-Man and all that, but I just think multiplayer games being exclusive is dumb, and this is kind of proof of that, because I just think that it's shown how well this game is done, when I just don't think it would have done that well if it was only on PlayStation. So it's been interesting to watch, and I hope that they do take that and kind of look at the numbers and go, oh damn, like we should probably have been doing this for the last decade, because like look at those extra numbers, all the extra sales, but then all the extra players that are probably going to buy skins and stuff. Like you're just making more, like way, way, way more money. And then if they were to add if they add it to Xbox eventually, it's just more players. It doesn't hurt anyone. No one on PlayStation's like, oh, I mean the console war people saying that, but
we don't talk about them.
Most people would just be like, I don't care if Xbox can play it. That just means there's more people for me to play with. That's fine. And the better the game does, the more support it gets from the devs. The longer I can play the game, it might give the game an extra year worth of content because it's just doing so well. So, I really hope this is like the beginning of a wake up call to just the whole gaming industry. It's not even just PlayStation. It's just like everyone in general. Just like exclusives are dumb. Let's just not do it. And I do understand it for like the blockbusters and that, but even then, I just feel like they should be timed exclusives. I think it's just stupid. I've always thought it's stupid, and maybe that's because I have got each platform to avoid that. So maybe that's why. Maybe if I was like loyal to one, console.
But even then, if you don't have the one console, it hurts you too. So even like,
yeah, true, yeah, that's a good point.
It's like good for you.
Because then, I was actually an Xbox guy, so I wouldn't have played like The Last of Us and that. I'm very strict with my top 10 of all time. Like I've got it all like written, and 5 of my top 10 of all time are PlayStation exclusives. Mm-hmm. So like if I didn't ever get a PlayStation, I literally would have not experienced some of my favorite games ever. So I just think it's dumb, and this makes me happy that it's at least somewhat not exclusive. I really hope they come to Xbox eventually. It's not going to make me like, I'm not necessarily going to play it because of that, but I just, stuff like that just makes me happy. When I've even seen a lot of PlayStation players online being like, because obviously the way the game works, it's like you need players to help in the fight. That's kind of the point of it. Like everyone's in this big battle together. And I've seen PlayStation players being like, can we get the Xbox guys in here? Like we need help. Like the robots are taking over. We can't fend them off. Bring the Xbox guys in. They've been playing Halo. They know what they're doing. So I just love seeing that. It's just like nice to get a bit of difference from the whole console war stuff, because I honestly get so just tired of that. It's such a boring conversation to me.
I think we're going to see more and more of the online games. I mean, we saw it with the Nintendo Direct today. Grounded is coming to Nintendo, which is it's an online based game, so it makes tons of sense. Yeah. And I think Sea of Thieves.
Same as Sea
of Thieves is coming to PlayStation.
Others, which is like mental. And that, like, again, I love that. That's such a good move by Xbox to do that.
It's also the first time a Rare game has ever released on a PlayStation platform.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I never realized that actually until I saw that on Twitter. It's just a good move. I don't see who that could possibly hurt. It helps Sony in that they're going to make money, right? They haven't done anything. Mm-hmm. They just get a game and they get to make money from it. Microsoft makes more money from it. So both platforms are getting extra money. More people can play it. And then the player base who's already there and still playing, they would be thinking like, damn, we're getting a big influx of new players. This is going to be awesome. Just like when Battlefront went free on Epic Games and we were all like, yes, get people in the door.
There's like 19 million people, right?
Game. So, yeah. So I just think that's a prime example that this is literally just a win for every single person involved. I don't see how anyone can take a negative from it, other than the console war people who are like, oh, we don't want PlayStation to have Sea of Thieves. Like, who cares? Who cares, man? It doesn't affect you at all.
Boo-hoo. It's actually going to be better because then you'll have more people to destroy and there's going to be more noobs, so it's going to be even better.
Yeah. I feel like most people saying that stuff too, like, they don't even play the game. Like, I feel like they just literally are on the internet. They just exist to, like, whinge, and they just pretend they're like a Sea of Thieves fan. And they're like, oh, we don't want them, when I bet the dude doesn't even own the game. So, yeah, I'm at the point where I just have stopped trying to listen to that stuff. It's so boring to me.
Yeah. It's played out. We don't need to. It's going to be very interesting to see like what Helldivers does, because obviously there's the big surge. We'll see how it continues to do. I think it's only going to be one of those games where I think it might even be more popular on PC than it would have ever been on PlayStation alone. Yeah, like you were saying earlier. It just strikes me as more of a PC game than it does a PlayStation console game, honestly.
Yeah, I think because it's so like chaotic. Yeah. And like a shooter and a game like that, that's like just, it's a bit, even though it's not sweaty because you're not playing against other players, but it's kind of like a sweaty looking game. Yeah. Like you have to kind of, it just looks like carnage the whole time. And I feel like that's definitely more of like that's what I think of when I think of like PC players. They love those sorts of like really just chaotic shooters and stuff. So yeah, I think PC will carry it. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it. I don't think anyone expected that level of success. Mm-hmm. So now it's like, can they back it up and continue to keep those people hooked? That's now the next interesting thing. But even if they don't, I think it's still just a huge win for them. And hopefully Sony does look at that and go like, okay, our plan may have been wrong this whole time. Like, we need to change things.
Yeah, I definitely think that's going to be a discussion that's going to be had more and more throughout the next probably 2 years, but at least 5 years for sure.
100%. I definitely think like, I don't think exclusives will ever be like fully, deleted.
Yeah.
But I just think we are definitely trending a little bit in that way to where maybe it is just timed exclusives and stuff. And I'm fine. I would actually be more than fine with that because I think that's the win for everyone in that. If I'm a loyal PlayStation player and I've always just had a PlayStation, it is cool to get like God of War before Xbox, for example, and be like, it's kind of like it's not the console war level. It's kind of just like friendly banter of like, we get this game a bit early. Like, and they win. They get that win there that gives Sony players a reason to buy it. Like when the PS6 comes out, it gives them a reason to still go, you know what, I'm still going to get the PS6 because it gets those games first. But then everyone else still gets to play it later. And they've done it with PC. I don't know why they don't do it with Xbox too. Like they should release those games on Xbox because it's just free money. The game's already made. It's already been, after launch in that year, any bugs and stuff have been fixed up. So no more work has to be done on it other than they have to obviously like optimize it for the console and that. But it's like the large majority of that work's done. And then you're just getting free money. Work you've already done is just going to get more money for no reason.
And it's twice the promotion for your game too, so you get to like that second wind of people even returning. Like honestly, I didn't buy the Last of Us Part 2 remake, but I played through the Last of Us Part 2 for the first time because I saw everyone talking about it. Yeah,
I think a lot of people would like. So God of War Ragnarok was 2022, and then like in 2023. When they put it on PC, I'm sure a lot of people bought it on PlayStation as well. They probably were like, I didn't have to, I was too busy. I had school and stuff and I didn't get to play it. Oh, they're re-releasing that. There's a trailer. Damn, I forgot about that game. Maybe I'll pick it up. Like, so they're just it's just literally free money. I don't know why they don't do that. Because it still gives them the benefit of having it as an exclusive. They still get that exact benefit. Because after a year, that benefit of it being an exclusive is kind of gone because no one's really buying it anymore. So you've had your win from that, which is good, and then just give it to everyone, and you're still just going to make heaps of money, make more people excited. And then a really good point I heard in a podcast the other day was that what Xbox is doing here with, say, Hi-Fi Rush, putting that on PlayStation and Nintendo. If they were to do a timed exclusive on Hi-Fi Rush like they've done with this, where it was just on Xbox for a year, well, they're going to get new fans of Hi-Fi Rush. Then when they make a Hi-Fi Rush 2, those people might go get an Xbox because they're like, I don't want to wait a year for that. So then they're actually, in that example of Sony giving God of War to other consoles, the Xbox diehard might be like, you know what, I'm actually going to go get a PS6 because I want to play God of War straight away. So they're actually getting more of a win than you even initially think about, in that they're getting the money from the game, but then they may even get a dude into their ecosystem from that game alone. And then they're getting all the other, they're going to buy The Last of Us and Spider-Man and all that kind of thing. So it baffles me how they don't see that as the better option. Maybe the numbers don't speak of, it doesn't show that that's the better option. Maybe it isn't the better option. I don't know. I'm not in that industry, but it just, to me, seems so blatantly obvious that that's the way they should be doing it. And unfortunately, they just haven't caught on to that just yet.
Yeah. I think we're going to see a very big shift from what people expect to see of these like specific platforms really soon. But let us know your thoughts in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube, or contact@uplinkpodcast.com if you want to email us, and check out Sammy Boy's channels. And if you're into Star Wars, check out Star Wars Uplink. As always, we'll see you later, video gamers.